Om Ajnana-timirandasya Janam-shalakanam Chakshurmilitam yena tasmai Shri-Gurave Namah Chit-chaitanya-manopistam sthapitam yena bhutale Swam-rupakadamayam tadati svapadantikam Vandeham Shri-Udapad-kamalam Shri-Om Vaishnavam Shri-Rupam Sarjatam Saganagnatim Fritam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savaduktam Parjanasaitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shivishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Rande Vrindavneshve Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamama Haripriye Pancha Kalptabhisha Kripat Vaivasha Patnam Pavanvyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvashesa Sunyavadi Paskachai Desantarane Srila Prabhupada Ki. I'm very happy to be with you today. It's a beautiful day, the sun shines. Srila Prabhupada said that in England, when the sun shines, England is very beautiful. But I think also everywhere when the sun shines, it's very beautiful. That's a big relief after months in Europe, no sun, now to see the sun. The sun is factually the source of all life in this universe, Prabhupada says. Without the sun, no life. That everything depends on the sunshine, all energy. That we hear an airplane now. The airplane keeps in the sky because of the sunshine. How can we understand that? Because it runs on fuel. Fuel comes from the earth. Fuel comes from wood, which is transformed into oil. And wood comes from a tree. And the tree grows because of the sun. It gets the energy of the sun. That Prabhupada even says that the planets keep in their orbit because of the sunshine. Some Srila Prabhupada writes that they are drilling oil from the earth, and then he suggests that's very dangerous because it's because of the oil that Earth stays in balance and floats in the air, in space. That it's because it depends all on the sunshine. That anyway, this is an appreciation of the sunshine, which is the eye of Krishna. That and it reflects the Brahma Jyoti, the spiritual sky, which is a reflection of Krishna's body. Which color is Krishna's body?
Blue.
Which color is the sky?
The sky.
It's a reflection of Krishna's body. Interesting. But okay, we will read from Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I will read from chapter 16, verses 1-3. Chapter 16 is entitled The Divine and the Demoniac Natures. I will just read the Sanskrit and the verses. And the verse, the purport is, I think, one of the longest purports, if not the longest purport in the Bhagavad Gita. So I will not read it, but I will speak about one divine quality, which is mentioned in this verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Abhyam Sattva Samsudya Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti Dhanam Dhamma Satyasya Svatyayas Tapa Aryavam Himsa Satyamakrodas Tyaga Sandrupashanam Dayapute Sadoluptvam Mardavam Rir Achapalam Teja Ksama Triti Chaucham Adro Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadindevim Abhiyatasya Bharata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy, and passion for honor. All these transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly man endowed with divine nature. So these are all divine qualities, spiritual qualities. And one of these qualities is ksama. Ksama means forgiveness. That there's an other verse where Srila Prabhupada speaks about forgiveness. It's in the 10th chapter of the Gita. In the 10th chapter, verses 4-5, he mentioned qualities, a list of qualities. And he says, all these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. And one of these qualities is ksama also, forgiveness. And Srila Prabhupada, in the purport, speaks about this ksama, and said this ksama means one should forgive the minor offenses of others. That I was thinking, what is the importance of this for our spiritual life, for our spiritual advancement? We are all chanting the holy names. That who is chanting regularly the Hare Krishna mantra on japa? That Okay. Very good. That so many times we have problems with chanting with attention. That our mind wants to do something else many times when we start chanting. That and we cannot concentrate. You have also that problem, or I'm the only one where, yeah, that, okay. I'm not alone. But it means we need to open our heart for Krishna when we chant and forget all the other things. But we are hampered by attachment and aversion to things in this world, raga and dvesha. Srila Prabhupada, what Krishna says to Arjuna, this raga and dvesha are paripantina, are obstacles of the spiritual path. So how is that relation there with the chanting and forgiveness? Forgiving others for minor offenses is essential for opening our heart to receive Krishna's mercy. How is that? Even if we can avoid all the offenses in chanting, if we don't cultivate forgiveness, we will not be able to chant the pure name of Krishna and become blissful by the chanting, feel the ecstasy of the chanting. Because to feel the ecstasy, who gives the ecstasy? It's Krishna. It's Krishna's love. We must open our heart. When our heart is closed by dwelling on this attachment and aversion, then we cannot receive forgiveness. When Krishna appeared as before Krishna appeared, before Devaki, Devaki had 6 children, and Kamsa mercilessly killed each of these children, one after another. But then, of course, when Krishna appeared, he was exchanged with Subhadra. That's when at Vrindavan. Because Mother Yasoda had given birth to a girl, but she didn't remember. And Vasudeva exchanged the children, came back to the prison. That is a whole event described in Krishna book. And when he came back into the prison, the doors opened, closed, and he sat down, he put his chains on, and he put a girl on the lap of Devaki. And then the girl started to cry, and all the guards became aware, and they formed Kamsa, and Kamsa came, and then Devaki was pleading, please don't kill this child. It's a girl. But he mercilessly took the child by the feet, and he wanted to smash it against the wall. But the girl slipped from his hand and appeared before him as Durga. Durga with many hands and weapons, fearful. Factually, Kamsa, he was a worshipper of Durga. He did Durga Puja every day. And suddenly he saw his deity alive before him. And he gave him awe and reverence that and at that moment his heart changed. And he started to feel remorseful for the killing of Devaki's son. And he approached Vasudeva and Devaki. He said, "My dear brother," yeah, I mean, he approached Devaki. And Devaki said, "My dear brother, you have killed so many of my children who were just born. They were shining like the sun, but that's not your fault. You have been advised by demoniac friends to kill my children." So Kamsa started to feel remorseful for killing Devaki's sons. And he sought forgiveness for his action. He said, my dear sister Devaki and brother-in-law Vasudev, kindly excuse me for the atrocities I've committed against you. I'm very poor-hearted. You are so great-hearted, so take compassion upon me and excuse me. Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, when Devaki saw her brother so repentant, she also became pacified and forgot all his atrocious activities against her children. Vasudev also, forgetting all past incidents, spoke smilingly with his brother-in-law. So, can you imagine? Kamsa killed your children, 6 killed children before your eyes, and they just forgive him. That must take a lot of spiritual maturity to forgive someone for this unimaginable act of murdering one's own children. That made me thinking, why is forgiveness so essential for us who are chanting the holy name? Because if we don't forgive, our minds will always come back and start to hate that person. And the mind dwells in desire and hate. And even when we chant, it comes up in our mind. And we cannot get rid of it. It creates obstacles for the cultivation of pure love of Krishna. Because I was trained as a Christian, and when I was reading this Krishna book, immediately some quotations from the Bible came up. And I was thinking, how does this relate to Krishna consciousness? How does that relate to our practice? In the Bible it is said, for if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. I found it interesting. That's not the only quotation. In another quotation from the Bible, and when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them, so that your Father in heaven may forgive you your sins. So it seems in the Bible, it said forgiveness is presented as a necessary step for spiritual connection with God. But in the Bhagavad Gita, this principle is explained on a much deeper level. If we do not forgive others, the mind will continue in the duality of desire and hate. So, because that is how the illusory energy is manifested. We dwell in this duality of desire and hate. Duality. The deluded persons, they dwell in these dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I'm the master of the house, I'm the husband of this wife. These are all dualities of delusion. So those who are deluded by these dualities, they are completely foolish, Prabhupada said, and they cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So why do we dwell in these dualities? Because our mind is impure, our intelligence is impure. This dwelling in dualities is the cause of false ego, the misidentification with the body. So Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita explains what false ego is. It says, false consciousness is exhibited under the impression that I'm a product of this material nature. That's called false ego. False ego means accepting this body as oneself. When one understands that it's not a body and a spirit soul, we come to our real ego. Ego is there, Prabhupada said, but false ego is condemned. There are many, many quotations on false ego. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, when one is completely free from false ego, he becomes non-attached to the material things. And then he comes to the states of self-realization, Brahman. That stage is called Brahma-bhuta stage. When one is free from the material conception of life, he becomes peaceful. And he cannot be agitated. We know the story of Jai and Vijay from the Bhagavatam. They were cursed by the four Kumaras to fall from the spiritual sky to the earth. Of course, this was an arrangement of the Lord of Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan, because Jai and Vijay had the desire to give a good fight to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to Lord Narayan. Because all tendencies that are in us are also in the Supreme Lord. So they had a desire to serve the Lord by giving him a good fight. And Lord Narayan came and proposed them. They could choose between 7 birds in the material world as normal devotees, or 3 birds as his enemy. And they choose to be the enemies of the Supreme Lord. And they took birth, Jai and Vijay, as Hiranyaksa and Hiranyakasipu, as then later as Ravan and Kumbhakarna, and then in Krishna's pastime as Sisupal and Dantavakra. And in each of these appearances, they were driven by hate and anger, and their mind was fixed on the Supreme Lord. And very, very strongly fixed. If we hate someone, it becomes very, very strongly fixed in your mind and you cannot get it out. And it comes always back. This person has done this to me and that to me. After the Battle of Kurukshetra was finished, then Bhima had a fight with Duryodhana, a club fight. And they were fighting, and Lord Balaram came. Lord Balaram was affectionate towards Duryodhana. Duryodhana had learned the club fighting from Balaram. Of course, Balaram is representative of God, that he was affectionate to both. But he said, you should stop this fighting, it's useless. Because Bhima is superior in strength, but Duryodhana is better in the technique. So they are equal. Stop it. But Bhima and Duryodhana ignored the pleas of Balaram. So they didn't want to stop. It's in the Bhagavatam. They did not accept Lord Balaram's request. Although it was logical, for their mutual enmity was irrevocable. Each of them constantly remembered the insults and injuries he had suffered from the other. That, of course, Bhima was also not a saint in that sense. When he was a young boy, he was very strong, and he was playing with the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. And sometimes they were climbing in the trees, these sons, and out of fear for Bhima, but Bhima would come and he would shake the trees, and they would fall from the trees, breaking their bones, and of course Duryodhana and these 100 sons, they started to make plans to get rid of these Pandavas. So they knew Bhima was a voracious eater. So they prepared him a cake full of the hala poison of the cobra. So they presented him the cake, birthday cake, and Bhima was very happy and ate everything. And after eating, Bhima said, I feel a little sleepy. I said, oh yeah, you take rest. So, of course, he fell unconscious. And then they came and bound him up with ropes, the Duryodhana and the brothers, and they threw him in the river. And his body came down in the river, and on the bottom there were poisonous snakes, and they started to bite him. And by their poison counteracted the poison that was in the cake. And not only that, it gave more strength to Bhima, so that he broke the ropes. And then he was brought by the servants of Varuna to Varuna, who gave him some elixir, which gave him enormous strength. So anyway, there are so many things that happened that they tried to disrobe Draupadi. They tried to burn him in the house of Black. And they each remembered all these things, and that gave them strength to continue the fight, and they could not stop because they felt so deeply hurt. They could not stop. Of course, we should not think that they are ordinary persons. This is Krishna's pastimes. Factually, they are all devotees, but they are playing a role. They are traveling with Krishna from universe to universe. And Bhujan Prabhu told us when we came at the end of the Bhagavatam and 11th canto at the end, also the disappearance of the Yadu dynasty is described. That this disappearance is described, and also Krishna is shot by this hunter, and he ends his pastimes. And Bhujan said it's like a road show. A road show travels from one city to another, and they have their performance. And then after the performance, everyone takes up his costumes. And then they speak as normal persons. And then they go to the next city and perform the drama again. So Arjuna, the Pandavas, and so on, they are traveling with Krishna from universe to universe to perform a drama. But it's for us to learn that. So if we keep this hate and enmity in our heart, then anger comes to dominate the mind, and it creates a fixation on the enemy. So if we cannot forgive a person or issue, it will come again and again during japa. And by that we cannot not focus of the holy name. Because the purpose of chanting is to give our love to Krishna, right? That's the purpose of the chanting. And I traveled, I was a brahmachari for many years with Prahladhananda Swami. And he said always the same thing. Well, it's something he repeated. He said, first give your attention to Krishna, and then give your love. First attention. But if your attention is taken away by this hate and anger, you cannot give your love to Krishna. Neither can you receive love from Krishna, because it's coming in two ways. So it will always resurface repeatedly during japa, and it hinders our ability to focus on the holy name. Because reviving our love for Krishna begins with giving attention to the holy name, attentiveness. And then we can infuse our chanting with affection and love. So Krishna explains in 334 of Bhagavad Gita, this raga, this attachment, and dvesha, aversion, are paritpantina, obstacles of the power of self-realization. And raga and dvesha are both attachment. One is positive attachment, the other is negative. So if we do not forgive, we keep this aversion in our heart. And it keeps our heart closed for Krishna. Not only it's closed for the giving of our love, but also for the receiving of our love. When we forgive, we open our hearts, and then love can flow freely in two directions. That So, therefore, we should think if we feel a grudge for someone, that forgive them in your heart. Let it go. It's not worthwhile. We have gone to so many lifetimes, and in previous lifetimes we had also so many issues. It's normal. We are in the material world. But is it worthwhile to keep it in your heart? You will take birth again. You cannot go back to Godhead. So let it go. Forgive. It's not worthwhile to keep the grudge in your heart. Prabhupada speaks about give minor offenses. But there are big offenses. Big offenses are aggressors. They must be punished. That we are not speaking about that. Murderers and so on. That they have to be punished, and that was why this Battle of Kurukshetra had to take place. Big offenses. But whatever offenses, we should learn to forgive. We may keep, even if you are grudges towards persons who left their body already. And we have still the aversion in our heart. Just let it go. Forgive that. Because factually, this is not very serious. Because feeling offended comes from the fact that we are identified with the body. It's the body concept of life. That it doesn't matter. This so-called good and bad. One person is his entire life, only good things happen. And then the other person is his entire life, only bad things happen. What do they get at the end? They die. It's the same thing. It doesn't have any meaning. It's just for the body. But we have a relationship with Krishna. And that's much more important, to open our heart for our relationship with Krishna. So do not take this material life so serious. We have to do our duty. But don't feel too quickly hurt. Let it go. If we can let it go, then we will get peace in our heart and be able to fix more deeply on the holy name. Because this is a form of self-compassion, that we can be compassionate with others, nice, but first be compassionate with yourself. Allow yourself to enter the spiritual platform. Don't block it by keeping hate in your heart. That's not good, this hatred. So this is, I wanted to give this as a message to end this seminar on the chanting of the holy name, and it's important. It's not just I speak, but you have to think about in your heart, to whom am I keeping a grudge and let it go. Don't keep it. That we have seen here, of course, the extreme example of Devaki and Vasudeva. They forgave their brother for murdering their children.
6 of them.
6 of them, yeah. That was so they are the most advanced devotees, of course, but we should work on this. That sometimes it's difficult. You are very deeply hurt. That I know that. I experienced myself. But finally, you must let it go. That and all these relationships are temporary, because that's an important instruction that Bhakti Sharmaraj gave us. He said, look for the future. Your future is bright. Forget the past. It does not mean that we don't have to learn from the past, but forget the past, all this attachment and aversions. Just forget it. Look forward to the future. This is the difference between the conditioned souls in this world and the devotees. The conditioned souls, they are here to stay. They don't leave the material world. The devotees are in transit. We are on the way back to Godhead. That's completely different. And we should not block our way back to Godhead. Just let all these things go. It does not mean that those who have done wrong things, they don't have to be punished. That has to be done. But you let this attachment go. Let it go. So that's self-compassion. Because this material attachment is a very dangerous illusory energy. Yeah. So, but if we perform pure devotional service with the motivation just to please Krishna, then we will be able to overcome this. Because we have to get out of our heart all what's hampering us in our relationship with Krishna. We have done this Nrsimha Shakya today, like every Sunday. That's nice. But Nrsimhadev, he helps us to take away the obstacles of our devotional service. Prahlad Maharaj is still in this universe. He's in Hari Varsha, some part of this universe, in Jambudvip. I don't know if you look at the stars where it is, but it's there. And he worships every day the deity of Lord Nrsimhadev. He has 2 prayers, he says, every day, and they are mentioned there. And one prayer is Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Asya Virbhava Vachanaka Vachatam Stakamasyam Randaya Tamoka Sagasa Abhyam Atmani Uistyam Ksham. This verse says, he says, Prahlad Maharaj, he prays to the Lord, oh my Lord Nrsimhadev, you have these very sharp nails, which are like chisels, very sharp. Because he knew that he used it to kill his father, these sharp nails. But he's praying. You have these very sharp nails, please go into my heart and take away all the dirt, all what is between you and me. Take it away from my heart, so that I can have a pure relationship with you. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, a devotee should learn to pray like this to Lord Nrsimhadev. Please take away all my attachment to this world. Take it away. Take it away now. And that requires courage. Mostly we want to give it up, but not right now. But no, have the courage to pray, to conduct the surgery now. Take it away. That really wanting to get rid of this attachment in this world. Also Queen Kunti was praying like that. She prayed to the Supreme Lord, please take away my attachment to my sons. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Queen Kunti is not praying to take away the affection for the Pandavas, which are her sons. Affection is normal, therefore. But she's praying to take away the material part of the affection. And the material part is that she thinks it are my sons. That no, they are eternal associates of the Lord, spirit souls. So that is the material part. Affection and love is natural for the spirit soul. It's natural and it becomes spiritual when that affection is just focused on Krishna instead of things in this world. And Krishna is in everyone's heart. In everyone's heart. We can see Krishna in everyone's heart and feel that affection. Nearly 40 years ago, I was the head of an administration in a home for retired people, old people. This home for retired people was run and conducted. Yeah, it was running. It was owned by the Cistercian sisters, the Christian order, a Benedict order of that. Some of the nurses were nuns. They were nursing, and I asked them how. I asked to Sister Sabine, because I knew them all. I asked them, but how do you see your service spiritually in serving in the? Well, she said to me, I see Jesus Christ in everyone, and I'm serving Jesus Christ. I found that quite interesting. Krishna is in the heart of everyone. For them, Jesus Christ is God. So we say the same thing. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Bhavana Kavyan Ashtini Sunshev Shapaksha Panida Samadakshina. That a Pandit sees the Supreme Lord in the heart of an elephant, a Brahman, a dog eater, and so on. That it's the same principle. So if we open our heart for Krishna and give all these grudges, we will feel much more peaceful. If you forgive someone, then the mind and the heart becomes peaceful. Otherwise, it comes back again and again and again. Just let it go. That's those who were your enemies. Pray to Krishna that Krishna especially is merciful for them. Become their well-wishers instead of their enemies. And then we will find internal peace. Otherwise, these grudges remain, and we remain in this world. Don't take that risk. Let it go. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? Yes?
Thank you so much for a wonderful lecture. Actually, I have one question, like being in the society, how we can balance the forgiveness and keep, on the other hand, keeping our self-respect. Because sometimes we can forgive people, and but people don't want us in their life. And sometimes we get invitation as a social gathering. So we think like maybe we may create disturbance in their mind by attending those gatherings. So how do we like answer this situation, handle this situation?
If there are social circumstances, if you cannot personally ask for forgiveness, forgive them in your heart. That's the point. It's an internal thing. That it's not so much that you have to go to them and tell them, I forgive you. In some circumstances, that can be done. But you forgive them in your heart and let it go. And that is the message. That I understand there are so many situations that we cannot do these things. And people may even be already gone. But still we keep grudge. Even then we should let it go. That's the message. Okay? Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much, man. Very nice. Thanks. So, forgiving someone, one way it is easier. We say, okay, in the mind or in my heart, I forgive. But is there a step which can help us, like, multiple steps, like how we can start that? Because many times in the heart, we will say forgive, but it will come again and again.
Yeah, that's, if we in the heart forgive and it comes again and again, then we did not really forgive. And that's certainly a point. And sometimes it's deep and it's difficult. But keep on repeating to yourself, I forgive them. And hear the Bhagavatam and hear the examples there, like Devaki and Vasudev. And if we continue hearing Bhagavatam, then gradually it will change our heart and it will give us the power to forgive. Why? Because gradually we start to understand the fertility of this world. Every moment we can get out of here. Therefore, we are really in a helpless condition. That it's all temporary. And if we hear the Bhagavatam, then gradually, and you chant with attention, good sadhana, gradually you start to take this material world not so serious in all these things that's happening. It's all fleeting. It has practically no meaning. It has meaning when we use things in Krishna's service. We put Krishna in the center. But otherwise it's meaningless. And yeah, it's like you are going to the next body, and in the next life, this this life becomes meaningless. So we are eternal. In the light of eternity, this flash of existence has no much meaning. It's all over soon. So we should not take it so serious. We are eternal. That's good news. We are not this body. We are never going to stop to exist. So why bother with all these things? But this realization comes when one lives as a devotee in a mode of goodness, have a good sadhana, we try our best. Then this realization comes. The more we can think of Krishna, the more pure we come. Because Krishna is purifying our heart from this ignorance. Because it's all due to ignorance that we go to these things. Identifying with the body, with the situation, which we are not. It's the madness of illusion. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Yeah, maybe it's 2:00. Maybe a last point, yeah.
I did have a lot of questions, but you answered them throughout the whole lecture, so
Yeah.
thank you. I am just wondering if you can share with us this verse that of Prahlad Maharaj, his great finish on the day. Where did you find this?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact verse, but it's in the 5th canto, and I think it's in in the prayers of the residents of Jambudvip. That's the chapter. And there you will have the description of Hari Varsha and Prahlad Maharaj. It's there. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.